Okay, I'm making a video, and the first part of the video went off again. I don't know what's going on with my laptop. So, anyway, that is a kid's dream to be told, or a person, not a kid, that they can have all the alcohol that they want. So, I promised him, he made me promise if I didn't try to run away anymore, if I stayed home, this homeschooling instead of going back to school, that he would stop. I mean, he would stop letting other guys have sex with me, and it would be only him. I would have all the alcohol and drugs that I want, and he won't hit me no more. So of course I agreed to that. So I dropped out of school in the tenth grade and didn't go back to school. I stayed home as my father's lover. By then, all my brothers and sisters had left. It was just me and maybe three of the other kids. I was the oldest, and that's how our life went on for a while. So, still, once in a while, the hitting and the bruisings and came around, but I didn't care. I knew after that, after whatever he does, I know I'm going to get some smoke anyways. Okay. The reason why I put the bell pepper in first, because the onions don't take that long to cook. So that's why I put the bell pepper in first. I'm only going to use one. I was going to put the orange one in too, but I decided not to. I'm getting ready to add the onions. So I dropped out of school. So anyways, when he finally passed away and I got with my first husband, I tried everything in the book to get him to abuse me one way or the other. Still had my drugs and alcohol. And that's how it went. So don't think that don't think your actions, you guys' actions of fighting in front of your husbands and in front of your kids, that it don't affect your kids. It does. So you really need to pay attention on doing that because it really affected ours. And out of six sisters, this is what we thought men are supposed to do. It was so hard for us to find someone who loved us the way we supposed to be loved. So, anyways, even with my husband, with my baby now, when we got together, like I said, we've only had one argument in 7 years. But when we got together, I did everything to try to get my baby upset with me. I wanted him to hit me. I wanted him to call me out of my name. And he just would not do it. And I told him, well, if you love me, how come you not doing this and how come you not doing that? You haven't put your hands on me. And my baby told me, because that's not love. That someone wants to control you or to put fear in you to keep you in line, and he didn't want that. So he had to show me and teach me this is not what love is. So that's another reason I'm just so happy. Okay, with that, I'm going to add some rice. I'm going to add some rice. I should have put the laptop on the other side so you can see. I add some rice, and I'm going to add some chorizo to it. You guys already know how to make bacon, so I don't need to show you how to make bacon. But I'm adding some chorizo to that, and I'm going to let that cook. I'm going to stir it and let it cook. So yes, I was so happy to find out that this is not love. Let's turn this down even more just in case y'all can hear me. Okay, so baby had to show me what true love is. So it does affect your kids. So my other, some of my other sisters in their relationship expected the same thing and tried to get their husband to do the same thing, and it wasn't happening. So anyway, when I left my second husband, still on heavy drugs and alcohol, do you know how bad it feels? My kids would come and tell me, when we sit and sat around and talk and we laugh and talk about when they was being raised. My kids would tell me incidents that I cannot remember. My oldest son is 26 years old, and my youngest one now is 18, and she's getting ready to have her first baby. I got 9 grandsons and got one on the way. And they would talk about some of the things when we was little that they loved, and we sit and laugh. Half of the stuff that they told me, I couldn't remember because I was so drugged up on drugs and alcohol that, I would get so hurt with myself and blame myself. And my kids never blame me. I'm going to put the bacon on. My kids never blame me. And they just wanted to see me off of drugs. So when the first year I was off of drugs, my youngest son would call me every month. Happy anniversary, Mom. Every month for a whole year he called me. And that's when people started letting telling other people in my family that I went into rehab. So the coma thing is right after what made me go into rehab, like I said. I couldn't stop doing drugs for anyone. Well, when I met my baby, he told me, we made an agreement to each other, no matter what happens in our lives as together, we will work whatever problems we have out. But if we use or cheat on each other, then our relationship is over. And I have not picked up a bottle or a pipe in almost 7 years. In September, it'll be 7 years. And baby's been he's been cleaner 2 months than me, more months than me. And not arguing, I never, wow. So anyways, going back, I'm going to be jumping back and forth to stories. Why I'm doing that, I'm going to do the eggs and chorizo. Get another skillet. Yeah, I couldn't remember a lot of stuff that my kids would tell me that we used to do. And thank God they was, good memories. But it hurt me to know that couldn't remember because I was so high or I was so drunk. So also, don't think, oh, your kids don't follow your steps, because they do. By what I did, my oldest son had already, I agreed to let him go off to Rialto to run for his school, so he was safe. My oldest daughter, she was with her husband now today, so she was safe. I had my other 3 kids, and by me getting real bad on drugs with them, I wanted it so bad. I taught them how to sell and make money. Next thing I know, next thing they was into drugs too. Um, and I'm not proud of it, but an addict mind is on one thing: getting drugs and drinking. If they have a drinking and drug problem, that's where our mind is. It don't matter how we get it. It don't matter who we get it from. So I taught my kids how to sell. And my kids love me, of course, so much. My daughter, My baby girl, my baby daughter, and my second daughter, when I would crash, they would hate to see me crash, so they would go out and get my drugs for me. That's how much they love me. They rather see me high than not than off drugs crashing because of my reaction, the way I act. So they followed my footsteps. And I thank God that none of my kids was born an addict. God been looking over me, and I had no clue. So after I got out of rehab, when the incident happened with my daughter, when I told her I couldn't help her, I have to help myself first. I got clean. My kids followed my footsteps. They got clean. My son went back to school. He graduated a year early. My other daughter picked up her GED. My youngest daughter is in school. She's getting ready to graduate. Those three that was following my step in the wrong path picked up the right path. So your actions do really affect your kids. I 100% can say I know this for a fact. I have lived it. I seen what my kids was doing, and I didn't care because I knew whenever I needed my drugs or alcohol, they was going to make sure I was taken care of. So when I got clean, they got clean. I'm so proud of my kids. And I used to beat myself up because of what I put my kids through. Because yes, I put them through that. And my daughter told me one day, she called and I was crying. I was crying, all upset. And she was like, "What's the matter, Mom?" I told her, I don't believe what I did to my kids. You know, sorry. I don't believe what I did to my kids. And, got you guys started on drugs, and we got put out living in the park during the daytime and the friend cars at night. I lost everything through drugs and alcohol. And you know what my daughter told me? Sorry. She told me, "Mom, if you're going to take the blame for us being on drugs, then you got to take the blame for everything, because you got to take blame of my son going back to school and graduated 2 years early. You got to take the blame of me getting my GED. You got to take the blame of Katana, which is my baby, back in school and about to graduate. You can't only take the blame for the bad stuff. You got to take the blame for the good stuff." So that helped a lot. And that's, sometimes they say out of the mouth of babes, all these years, even my baby would try to get me not to feel guilty. And when it came to my kids, I felt so bad. And my daughter helped me see, okay, yes, you did wrong, but you fixed it. Your kids are clean, off drugs. They graduated. They're in school doing what you want them to do. I'm getting ready to add the chorizo, and then I'm going to add the eggs. Yes, I still put butter in my even though I got the chorizo, I still put butter in my skillet. So that's going to go. I'm going to add the eggs. So yes, it does affect the kids. And after that, after that happened, I felt better. My husband couldn't even get me to understand that concept, but my daughter did. And it felt so good. Another burden lift off my shoulder. So don't think your actions affects your kids, because it does. It really does. And like I said, I've been with baby, and to experience what true love is the best thing. And I used to think, oh, my life is just falling apart. My first suicide attempt was at the age of 13. I didn't try to light myself on fire. I didn't try to slice my wrist. I tried to OD. I tried everything I could think of, taking a bottle of pills, going into the water, hoping I could drown. God just would not let me go. God had other things in plan. When my husband cheated on me with my 3 sisters, it just seemed like everything was going down the drain. I thought my life was falling apart. But you know what? I'm telling everyone out there that who feels like their life is falling apart, that's how we see it. God sees way different than us, than we do. He'll help you when you don't even know you're being helped. Because all this time I thought my life was falling apart, it was falling in place. My life was falling in place. All that crap that I went through with my dad, all the crap I went through with my exes, all the crap that I've been through other than that with the drugs and the alcohol. My life has been falling in place to get me to where I am now today. Wow. And, they say, oh, well, you wasn't strong enough to stay clean for your kids. In the meetings, they say your higher power. God is my higher power. God knows what will works for you. You can't, people say, oh, I've been clean for 3 years. I did it my way and it worked for 3 years or 4 years. But then you back out there. So no, your way didn't work. Because if your way worked, you wouldn't be relapsing. The only way it's going to work is letting God do it for you. If you can't do that, you're never gonna get it. Being clean and sober God's way is the only way it's going to work. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna stop my story right there. After my story last night, I had to go upstairs and give my baby a hug and tell him how much I love him, and he understood. I didn't have. That's all I had to say. Went up there and gave him a hug and told him, "I love you so much." And I thank God every day for my life. I really do. But I'm gonna stop it right there. That's how I'll do my testimony little at a time. Because anyway, so I'm gonna add the age now. And if y'all do hear me crying in the background, believe me, these are definitely tears of joy. I'm just so happy. And I said it before, and I'll say it again on each one of these little testimonies. Yes, I would do it gladly all over again to know if I knew. They tell me, oh, if you knew where you are today, would you redo it? Yes, gladly. Head held high, and I'll tell Dad, bring it on. I'll do it again because I know what's in line for me. I know I will finally have true happiness and someone who really loves me the way I'm supposed to be loved. That's why I treat my baby like the king he is. So, yes, that's my sweetheart. I love him so much. Okay? So just remember, when you think your life is falling apart, remember it's not. If you put your trust in Jesus, put your trust in God, it's not falling apart. It's falling in place. It took me a long time to realize that. Can you imagine going to sleep every night? Every night I would wake up with nightmares. I couldn't sleep. I was afraid to go to sleep because I would have dreams of what my dad was doing, or dreams of what was going on with my exes. Nightmares. My baby would have to stay awake just so I can get some sleep. He would make sure that my nightmares was gone. He can put his hands on my back while I'm asleep, and I'll sleep straight through. As soon as he removed that hand, I will wake up and have a bad dream. Not anymore, but that's how he had to start me to get a peaceful night's sleep. And now I tell people, oh, I'm married to the man of my dreams. I have sex dreams, and people say, oh, that's normal. I'm like, yes, I know, but in my sex dreams, I'm having sex with my husband.
Before it was like they was nightmares. I mean, but I'm actually married to the man of my dreams because in my dreams when I have sex, I'm having sex with him. And they're no longer nightmares. So here's my baby's breakfast. So here's breakfast. Stir fried rice, chorizo and eggs, and bacon.